Good morning. For a lot of people that do not know me, my name is Terry. I have recently been a victim of hate crimes towards my son and myself. We live in a little city called Blythe, California. Now, I have reported this stuff to the authorities every time that something has went wrong. Back in May 10th of 2019, my son was shot by two teenage boys, 12-year-old and a 13-year-old boy who owned the gun. 12-year-old boy is the one who shot my son. They shot my son out of just pure, didn't like him. He was riding around on his scooter singing Christian music. He saw that they had a little red rifle thingy that he had, like his uncle got him one in Texas. He went to just tell them that he had one. They told him to get the F away from them, and they didn't want him near them. So he, left him alone. But then at the same time, they said, "Oh, I'm gonna shoot you." So they threatened to shoot him. He comes in the house and asks me, "Mom, where's my BB gun?" And I said, "Why?" And he said, "Because these two boys threatened to shoot me. And if they shoot me, I want to shoot them back." And I said, "Sammy, you're not taking out no gun because you have metal BBs, and it could hurt somebody. So no, you can't have your gun." And I said, "You can stay in the house, though." And he says, "Well, no, Mom, why should I have to stay in the house? I've done nothing wrong," which he's right. He hadn't done nothing wrong. So I asked him where those two boys were, and at this time, the boys were down on that side of the property to the right of me. His friend Brooklyn lives across the way to the left of us, so he said, "Can I go towards Brooklyn's house?" And I said, "Sure." So, I watched him go off across the street. He went over to Brooklyn's house. Her and him were playing outside in front of her house. Well, Sammy was over towards a little further towards the street where they have like a little dead-end alley thingy. He was over there riding a scooter, and these two boys went from this side of the property, sought out through this side of the property, sought out and shot my son one time in the abdomen with at least 15 to 20 feet close to him with number one, had CO2 tank in it, which means it penetrated his skin. They shot him in his abdomen, and the BB still today is inside of him. Then we found out that when they had to take him to the hospital, they had to airlift him from here down to San Diego's Rady Children's Hospital, where my son was going to possibly undergo surgery. So yeah, I'm terrified. This all happened on a Mother's Day weekend. Finally, on Mother's Day morning, they let us know that the BB is too far deep into his cavity wall. They were afraid to go to cut into him to remove it, for the simple fact that it would do more damage than it would do to take it out that way than to just leave it in. He would be injured longer just from the healing part of the surgery. So, of course, they decided to go against it, which I understand. I don't want him hurt. I don't even want him shot, but what could I have done? It was already done. So we come home. So as the week he's healing here at home, on that Monday, I let him, go to school. I let him come home. I let him go outside and play because the doctors told us that that's what they wanted him to do, is to be able to still live life like a kid, and just to watch him for the next 90 days to make sure that he didn't have any signs of an infection from the BB, which means him coughing, sneezing, any type of fevers, him getting a little yellow jaundice to his skin, so on and so forth, because it may be, the BB's turning colors, and it could cause some type of either lead or toxic, poison inside of his injury. So none of that happened, gratefully. We're already in, the month of October, and luckily that's great. But about 4 weeks ago, this 14-year-old boy that's, again, friends with these other two boys, his name is Landon Diego. 14-year-old boy tried to have my son go up to people's doorbells, ring, run, and ditch, dive, and dodge, whatever the heck it's called. But, I caught Sammy and said, "No, you need not to be doing that." And I asked the boy to don't put my son involve my son in stuff that he's doing. And that matter of fact, my son shouldn't even be playing with him because of the fact that he was 14 and I grabbed Sammy. So about the day after that happened, Sammy was frisbeeing with a few of his friends and went behind a building. This boy Landon comes up to my son, tells him to give him his frisbee or he was going to stab him, and he did pull out a knife and he actually put it up to Sammy's stomach. Sammy comes running home, shows me, I call the police, which is what I'm supposed to do. So I go to the police, talk to them. They do nothing. They do nothing at all, say that they can't do anything. And so they tell me they're going to try to put the boy on probation, so on and so forth. So then the very next day, the boy sends a message with other boys that live here at our complex, telling Sammy the next time he sees him, he's going to stab Sammy. So Sammy makes a comment at school that he's tired of being bullied and that he was going to bring a gun to school and shoot all the bullies. So the cops call me, I go to school, I hear what they got to say, I take Sammy. So at that point, I remove my son out of school. I homeschool him. Because if he's feeling that threatened at school by bullies, I don't want my son to be one of these kids that do something stupid like that. So I think I'm doing the right thing by removing him. So then, on Saturday that just passed, on the 11th of the 12th Saturday, October, this boy runs up to my son because the day before him and his little brother were playing with sticks. The boy hit my son 3 times in the back with a stick. Sammy turned around, not really paying attention what he was hitting, but he accidentally got the boy right here under the eye. And the boy went home crying. The father comes to my door trying to beat up Mark over a kid incident. And when Mark makes the comment, isn't your older son the one that tried to stab my son? So the father leaves our door and doesn't come back. So then on Saturday, when Sammy went to try to go apologize to the little boy, they were here at the playground, and Sammy tried to just do the right thing. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to hurt you. We were playing. But instead of the boy understanding, he tells Sammy, okay, that's fine, but my dad said I can't play with you anymore. So then Landon comes up, running up on Sammy, and starts chasing down Sammy again. Sammy said he turned and that he said that Landon did have a knife out again. So this is the second incident where this boy has tried to come at my son with a knife. And the second incident, at this point in time, I'm at the point where I don't know what else to do, but I think I'm doing the right thing when I go ahead and I go again down to the police station and I file another report. So I file the report. They come out here, do whatever they do. Next thing you know, forgive me, but give me a minute. I'm getting out my car because so you can see what's going on here. So I'm walking. I come home Sunday night to a mess. And what I mean by a mess, is I come home and this is written on my walls. See this? And it was still wet. So the kids were still in the field where they jumped over the back fence. All of this is being done. And my apartments, the police, none of them are doing anything. I'm being told that I have to wait for my son to be injured for the police to do anything. I don't see how in the law of justice how any of that is right. So the police can't arrest kids who shoot your kid. They can't arrest kids that come at your kid with a knife. They can't arrest kids that are sitting here writing, vandalizing property. And these are 12, 13, 14-year-old kids. And then they wonder why school shootings and shit like this is going on. Because the police authority here, the authority figures in California, or especially here in Blythe, California, aren't taking this seriously at all. My son's being bullied at school. I had to remove him from there. Schools weren't doing nothing. Principal wouldn't even meet with me face to face to find out why is she allowing certain things to go on in her school. But then as I'm learning, me running my own business here, I've learned that they don't care. They want you to keep tight-lipped about everything that goes on here in this town. And it's backwards. It's completely backwards. And they're all telling me, oh, well, it's because you have basically the police force here and some of the students in the schools and the teachers, the ones that are doing all this, their kids are the back cause of a lot of this. And instead of doing their kids the right thing, which is to hold them accountable, instead they want to protect their kid and not do the right thing and try to make the families here feel like they have to just deal with the fact that they're going to be victimized. I'm not going to deal with it. The more and more things that I try to do on the right tip, the more and more things that are constantly going wrong. Why is my family trying to be investigated by CPS when we haven't done anything wrong? But the boy who has broken windows on this property, vandalized property, tried to stab other kids, the kids that have shot kids here on the premises, none of them or their families are suffering because, as we're finding out months later, they have people and family members affiliated with the police station, the DA's office, just a lot of stuff that just ain't right. Last time I checked, you're supposed to be able to turn to the authorities because they're supposed to serve justice. This is not serving justice. So I'm asking again for you guys to share this video. Take a real look around what's going on in Blythe, California. I pray to God that the FBI internal investigations will come down and shine a light, or maybe call me up and explain to me how this is supposed to work in a small-ass community, that there's no justice in a small community. Because the wrong people are getting injured and nobody's doing anything around it, but they're telling me that my son has to get hurt again, has to be stabbed by this kid in order for him to have anything happen to him. How in the right world does that sound right to you? Why should my son have to be stabbed, shot, or possibly killed before something happens? That's not okay. In any book,